welcome to Sussex Street Christian Centre's Reflection Series. We're looking at the Gospel of Mark. We will be working through the Gospel by the subheadings of each chapter. We hope that you will be blessed by our reflections and that they help you to grow in your relationship with God, as well as inspiring you to act as followers of God, being disciples and making disciples. Today we are looking at Mark chapter 4, verses 21 to 25. Our reading is from Mark chapter 4, verses 21 to 25, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation. Then Jesus asked them, "Would anyone light a lamp and then put it under a basket or under a bed to shut out the light? Of course not. A lamp is placed on a stand, where its light will shine. Everything that is now hidden or secret will eventually be brought to light. Listen and understand. And be sure to pay attention to what you hear. The more you do this, the more you will understand, and even more besides. To those who are open to my teaching, more understanding will be given. But to those who are not listening, even what they have will be taken away from them." In ancient Israel, a lamp was a lighted wick in a clay bowl that was full of oil. The lamp was not lit and then put under a closed place. Instead, the lamp was lit and placed on a stand, where its light will shine and illuminate the room. We don't use oil lamps so much these days, but a candle has the same effect. We can see the impact of lighting a candle and then covering it. There is no light in a dark room. But when we allow the candle to burn, when we remove the covering, the place of darkness is changed. The disciples may have wondered why Jesus seemed to deliberately be hiding the truth of the gospel through the stories. Maybe they thought that if the word or the gospel was going to fall on hard hearts or go to people who weren't interested or weren't willing to listen, then why should Jesus sow that gospel so liberally and be telling everybody that he met? Shouldn't he just limit the teaching to those who were ready and eager to listen? No, explained Jesus. I'm not deliberately trying to hide the truth from people. That would be like lighting a lamp and then putting it under a bowl. Why then light a lamp at all? If Jesus was hiding the truth, there would be no reason for him to preach and teach. The purpose of the parables was not to conceal the truth at all, but actually to help people to understand. The stories explained spiritual truths in everyday terms. Thus, the stories do not obscure, they clarify. However, the understanding only comes to those who are willing to listen and believe. In the passage that we've read in verse 23 and then earlier on in the chapter in verse 9, it states this: "Anyone who is willing to hear should listen and understand. And this saying often concluded Jesus' important statements. Have you ever done that kind of listening where you're not really listening? The kind where you can say things like, yeah, but actually you're not really taking in what the other person is saying. Well, the kind of listening that Jesus wanted and still wants is not the sort where we're not really paying attention. Jesus spoke of a deeper kind of listening, hearing not just with the ears, but with the mind and with our hearts. Only then could the hearers gain spiritual understanding from his stories. And I believe that that is true even today. That as we read the parables, as we hear the words of Jesus, the prophets, the words of God, the Bible, we should be actively listening and gaining spiritual understanding for ourselves. We may have understood this idea of hiding a light under something as being about not sharing the gospel with people around us. But clearly Jesus had another intention, to teach people about listening properly to what he was saying. However, I think there is a lesson for us to learn from the idea of the light that we have inside us, the light of God burning within us. You may not be familiar with it, but there is a quote in a film called Coach Carter, and the quote is from Nelson Mandela, and it says something like this: "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Who are you not to be those things? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking, so that others won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Let's conclude our time of reflection with a prayer. Loving God, would you help us to hear your word, to listen to your word? Would you give us understanding? Would you help us to be people who not just listen, but also act on your truth? Would you help us to be people who are not afraid of the light inside us, who are not afraid to rejoice in the gifts that you have given us. Would you help us? Would you embolden us to take out your truth, to take that light that is in us to our world for your glory and to bring your kingdom. Amen.